The Democrats held the darkest and angriest and gloomiest convention in American history.
The conventions are over. Did Trump and Biden see a boost in polling because of them? This is your 2020 fix. So a convention bump is exactly what it sounds like. A bump in the polls for a candidate after each party has their convention. It's a pretty normal thing to see for both sides, and it's one of the reasons why parties hold conventions in the first place. This year, though, President Trump did not see a bump in the polls after his convention.
Joe Biden may claim he is an ally of the light, but when it comes to his agenda, Biden wants to keep us completely in the dark.
4 polls taken during or right after the Republican National Convention showed Joe Biden still with a pretty consistent, significant lead over President Trump. In large part, that's because Biden is still leading with key voting groups like women and suburban voters and people who say they want a candidate who can handle coronavirus and race relations above all else. Republicans did try at their convention to appeal to some of these voters, but they did it with largely conservative rhetoric that seemed designed to appeal to their already motivated base.
You won't be safe in Joe Biden's America.
Joe Biden didn't really see a post-convention bump either. He's still leading in polls by a significant margin, but if you go back and look at the polling averages from July, a month before the conventions, he was leading by an average of about 11 points in high quality polls. Now it's an average of about 8 or 9 points.
May history be able to say that the end of this chapter of American darkness began here tonight.
Where Democrats did see a boost in enthusiasm was Joe Biden picking his vice presidential nominee, Senator Kamala Harris from California. He did that just before the convention. And that enthusiasm was manifested largely in fundraising for Democrats. In August, the Biden-Harris campaign raised $365 million. That broke a record for how much a presidential campaign raises in just 1 month. One thing that Democrats in particular consistently ask is, can we trust the polls? Do they actually matter? And the polls tell us a story of where the election is right now. We're 2 months out from the election. A lot of stuff can happen in 2 months, especially under this 2020 news cycle. Strategists on both sides, though, warn that we will probably see these polls tighten as we get closer and closer to the election. That's in large part because more and more Americans are going to start paying attention and then make their decision one way or the other. Another thing to keep in mind is that more Americans this year may be voting earlier than ever. That's because people plan to vote largely by mail in most states,